So, kind of thought that today would be one of those days where I could be super grateful about my technology. However, I don't know what's going on. I cannot connect my phone as a guest today to my live stream platform. So, we're going old school. So, I am on my phone. I am going to have to turn some things around and um, point my camera down at my work surface. So, give me just a moment so that I can take care of that. Da, da, da. Hopefully, this is going to work. Now, close your eyes. I'll try to cover this up for a moment. And let's see. I have no idea what you can see. I cannot see any messages. I'm going to attempt to stay muted and get on my Facebook page and just see what you see maybe.
Hey babe, you want to eat now?
I'm live now, but thank you.
Bye.
So I'm hoping you can see this case right here. Let's see. Still clicking, still clicking. Everything at my house is all of a sudden slow. I'm really hoping this works out today. Literally, my computer is frozen. I have no idea if my phone is frozen. I need like a ladder to see what my phone is viewing. So I'm gonna assume that you can see and hear me for the time being. This is the stamp set we're gonna use tonight. I have literally put every piece on a block. I did not end up using the siren lights in this week's cards, but oh my goodness. Let's see. Oh, okay. So I kind of see that I am live, but on my computer it is spinning and I just see a piece of paper. So let's see what's happening. Oh, okay. So maybe you can see just a little bit here. So there might be a little bit of a delay. I am going to attempt to pull this back just a little bit and see what happens. Okay, there might be a huge delay. So I'm going to get started. And again, I'm going to pray that what you're seeing looks good. So the first card we're going to start with tonight is this fabulous tone on tone card with our little band-aid. Great for a school nurse or any adult that kind of helps out in a system like childcare or schools where band-aids solve all the problems, right? So everything looks a little blurry on my screen, but I'm not sure if it's my camera or the internet. So while I am grateful, very, very grateful for technology, I'm a little, it gets a little frustrating sometimes. So we have one of our current in colors, which is our boho blue. And I'm going to grab my boho blue ink pad because that is the primary color we're using tonight with our stamp here. I'm trying to see where this is going to show up the best on here. So I'm going to set my card base aside. It is a standard 4 1/4 by 11. And then I have a 4 by 5 1/4 extra piece here. So we're going to just do a little tone on tone. And I've turned this on a diagonal here. And I'm just going to kind of stamp a background with this cute Band-Aid. Now remember, these live classes are samples of the type of class you would expect if you come out to join me for any of my KISS classes or my Keeping It Super Simple. So these are different projects that would be beginner friendly or fast. So if you've got a lot of things going on in your life, like I do, it is so much easier to have some quick and easy cards to whip up and put in the mail or toss in a backpack on the way to school, etc., etc. So here is my super simple background. Now I'm going to go ahead and use a piece of our thick basic white cardstock, and I am stamping directly on there. Yes, we will be doing a tiny bit of fussy cutting tonight, but you can see the designs are pretty simple. I don't know why I pulled those out before I colored. So let's put our ink away. I did go ahead and use a Stampin' Right marker, and this is my bubble bath color, and I love it so much. It's one of my favorite new in colors. And I'm just going to fill it in inside the heart here. And I used this watercolor based marker with our watercolor based inks, and they just work really, really well. So now I will trim around that, and we're going to elevate this on our card just a little bit with some Stampin' Dimensionals. We will elevate the large layer as well as this Band-Aid stamp. So that's going to be our process for today. All right, so let's get some dimensionals out. And when I said super simple, that's it. This is the easiest thing ever. So I'm going to go ahead and put thank you for everything you do on the inside. Just like that. So we can adhere everything on the inside and on the front. So on the inside, I'm just using a little bit of our Stampin' Seal tape adhesive. And make sure I have it opening correctly. So we are doing this a little bit like a landscape scene here. There we go. So we'll close that up. And then we're going to add our dimensionals to the back of this whole quarter sheet. And because I don't want to lose any of that dimension when it goes through the machines at the post office, I will use a little bit more than usual. That way it kind of comes back to life after it gets squished through that machine. If you are visiting my page, thank you very much, and I appreciate you being here. I would love if you could like and share, subscribe, however you would like to keep getting inspiration on super simple projects. I save the super hard and fancy stuff for those big wigs like Lisa Curcio because her things are phenomenal, and I love, love, love watching her videos. So if you want something super fancy, go see Lisa Curcio. And there are others, obviously, but she is one of my favorites. So I like to watch her and listen to her. She is somebody to look up to for sure. I am going to add some of our in color dots here with my take a pic tool. When we talk about what our favorite tool is, this has to by far be my most favorite tool. because my fingers don't always work. So hopefully the tool works. And I keep it in a handy little, I don't know what this thing is called. I got it from my sewing store. It's called a mini stash and store. And it really does hold a lot of things. So I have all the pieces and parts that I shared in my little tip with this just stuck in here. So you can see I have all the little pieces. They just kind of fit in the little nooks and crannies in here. This is that knife part. I put the knife part down just in case I don't need to cut myself while I'm crafting more than I already do, right? All right, we'll set that aside. So this is card number 1. Go ahead and move these out of our way. Now you can get tonight's kit for free. If you would like it for free, you can place an order at my store, which is listed at the top there. A minimum order of $35 or more will get you tonight's projects in the mail. Everything comes pre-cut, just like I will show you right here. So, for example, you get an envelope for all of your cards. You'll get all of your card bases and all the pieces and parts pre-cut for you to create the design, replicate the design. So really, what do you need in order to make any of these projects? It's simple. You'll want a stamp set. You'll want 1 or 2 inks. I would recommend grabbing a boho blue and a memento ink. So these 2 items, 3 items. So stamp set, 2 inks, and you could survive with just that to make these cards. You don't have to do the coloring, or you can grab your kids' crayons out of their book sack, however you'd like it, because everything comes pre-cut, ready to put together. You just have to stamp it and put it together. It would be helpful to have either a Stampin' Seal or our multi-purpose liquid glue. However, literally, again, grab your kid's book sack. I'm sure there's a glue stick in there, right? If you don't have a kid, your neighbor might. So I'm sure there's somebody you can borrow some supplies from for a day. Again, $35 order gets you all 4 of tonight's projects for free. And here is card number 2 that we're about to create. This fancy design is so much fun, and it's going to surprise you at how easy it truly is. Now, I did leave this one blank on the inside. We've got our stethoscope here, and I'm thinking in my head when I made this that it was always helpful. I have had 2 surgeries now, and after each of them, I really liked to send a thank you card to the nurses that took care of me. And so this is like something that I would send for that type of occasion. If you have had a baby recently, this would be a great way to send a thank you. So let's see. Oh, that's interesting. I can comment as myself right now on Facebook. That's fun. So you know me, I like to get this inside piece in and out of the way. Can I add something to it later? Absolutely, because it's nice and flat. But I left it blank so I could write a lot, because sometimes I'm a little sappy that way. All right, I'm going to go ahead and burnish my edges with the bone folder here. Now, again, this card looks harder than it is. So here's my inside piece, my panel, my standard 4x5 1/4, and I'm going to go ahead and add a tiny bit of tape. I've been trying to keep a cleaner sheet on top for y'all to see. I'll show you at the end what the bottom looks like, because it's pretty messy. There. Now this won't move around so much. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere this fun sheet to this right here. And if you notice in the description, I actually listed tonight's paper because much of what I designed with came from the same designer series paper pack, and it's really awesome with the variety that it offers. So I really, really loved it. All right, so I said you could use one color. You could go ahead and use your boho blue. You could use your memento ink. I did go ahead and kind of stick with the color scheme. So I did the Night of Navy, but again, it's not necessary. You can do different things. And tonight's theme is putting squares on the diagonal, and you'll see why I'm saying that. If you have watched any of my videos, I tend to do this weird thing where it doesn't matter how many days apart I design for my weekly lives. I tend to have some type of theme. One week, all of my bows ended up on the right-hand side, and that's just weird, right? So this week I have a couple of squares on the diagonal. So that was just kind of weird. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and stamp our thanks, and I am putting it towards the edge just like that. So I'll be able to cut and embellish that in a moment. A little bit easier than if I had left it right in the middle. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere this flat on my card. So the only thing on dimensionals here is going to be that sentiment. This does not have to be perfect. And let's see. I didn't do this on the first one, but you could totally do this. You can color your little earpieces. If you want, you could color all of the stethoscope cording. I don't know what it's called. So you can totally color it if you want. Doesn't, it's personal preference. Now the magic, okay? So the glue was helpful here, but the magic is these strips that you're going to use to create the fractured look on the card. You do want to make sure it is flush against your piece, and we will trim these even with the edge of the card in a moment. So I did make sure, again, if you have a glue stick, this would work as well. And you just want to make sure that everything covers from the one before. I think I did that wrong, so I'm going to move it to this side. There we go. So you want to kind of go in the direction so that you're always butting up against one of these strips. This is my most favorite glue ever. It goes on and on and on forever and ever and ever, just like the song that never ends. Don't hate me. Okay, last piece is going to go on. Again, we want to make sure this is flush against all these pieces. That's what gives it that mystery look, that it was cut and pieced back together, which there are quilt designs that are like that. But I like in the paper world how easy that was. So I'm just going to trim this off, following the lines of the front of the card. Remember, I said these are beginner friendly, so They don't require a lot. So here we have most of it ready to go. So now I'm going to add my embellishments. And I did use our in colors for this. And this was the 21 to 23 in color opal rounds. And I'm going to put yellow on this one since I colored inside my stethoscope. I'm going to pop a little bit of yellow on here. And I just did a little 3 gems there, a little bit of balance. I think the joke is that symmetry, some people really like symmetrical looks and others it does not matter. So while this is symmetrical, it's still a little offset. So I think that's pretty cool. And we're going to add this to the top right here on dimensionals. I'm going to raise those up. Oh, there we go. I did have a tiny little piece ready to go. Oh, you find all kinds of things when you are creative and you have materials that are tiny. You find them everywhere. So let's add this right here. Now I could trim this down if I wanted to. I'm going to go ahead and leave it nice and bold here. All right, so that is card number 2 ready to go to any nurse out there, or again, like somebody in the school system. We have nurses in our schools, so that's always really comforting for us. All right, let's move on to card number 3. So card number 3 does use our Deckled Rectangles, but it is not necessary, especially if you are brand new, you don't have the machine yet, etc., etc. If you do, it's extra fun to just add a little bit of texture to the edges of your paper. So let's see. Well, I have all the pieces. There we go. Here is the card that we're going to make. Okay. So let's move this out of the way. I went ahead and stamped so that I could color. Sometimes coloring takes me a hot minute, and I'm going to go ahead. You have a scrap in your kit of this cute little checked ribbon, and I just tied it in a knot and attached it at the end. So I'm going to go ahead and tie that now. I will trim the edges later, and I have all my pieces ready. So I'm going to put my my blank piece on the inside, so I have somewhere to write my thank you. And then I have a fun eraser color, and it's Flirty Flamingo. But let me show you how close Flirty Flamingo is to the actual pencil eraser. And I think I have a newer one right here. I mean, they're just so close. I had to use it. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on. I did put this one on straight, but I think I'm going to angle it for this card just because I want to see what that does. And then again, that fun designer series paper. This is one of the back pieces that you can get for that. So let's go ahead and add this layer flat as well. I just want to make sure that it is not sticking out too far above or below. Move that out of the way. All right, now I goofed, but remember there's no stamp police, and there's always a way to hide or repair some mistakes. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on. We are doing a flat layer for this. But then this one is going to go up on dimensionals. And it's gonna hide that little piece where I accidentally didn't stamp it correctly, or punch the punch on the perfect placement of the cardstock. So, you know, again, everything's fixable, right? So I did use a tiny little mini glue dot to hold this on. And I like to take the flat side of the knot and do it like that. And then I'm going to stick it right in the middle. And then I will not be trimming that probably because that looks pretty good. So I did pull out some of my blends. I used my Memento ink for this. And so again, the eraser is that fun flirty flamingo color. So I'm going to go ahead and color this in. Then I used, what is this? The light black. Yep, light basic black. Just to match up the little band and the pencil lead. I grabbed one of our skin tone colors. Actually, I grabbed ivory. I have them all grouped together. The ivory was a better wood shaved color on the inside. So I did that. And then this fun crushed curry. And I used the dark. If you'll recall, our blends come with a dark and a light, which allows us to give some different coloring options. I just really liked the blends, so I went with those and the Memento ink. If you have our regular Stampin' Right markers, you could completely use our basic gray ink to get almost black, and you can use the Stampin' Right markers with that. We do have the same, almost all the same colors in our Stampin' Right markers. We just don't have a light and a dark variation. Okay, so there is our pencil ready to be trimmed. So we'll do that next. You can trim this as close as you want, or you can leave a little bit of a border, as I am doing here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put this up on dimensionals. And the last piece is to add some fun. I did some pastel adhesive backed sequins, and I love the little gold ones, so that's what I did. And I think I'm going to add a few extra. Because I love how they show up nice and bold against the black cardstock. But I think I really want to add a little bit of extra along here. Ooh, that one stayed on my finger for a second there. All right, so sometimes I'll do a little extra. Put that out of the way. And that is card number 3. You can see how we could trim that. It's really personal preference. I might go ahead and trim it just because it now looks a little lengthy there. Trying to get these out of my way so they don't wear them all. There we go. All right, so let me trim this up just a little bit. I do like to trim on a diagonal so that my ribbon doesn't fray a whole lot. So there you have it. Card number 3. Ooh, wow, telling you, very fast tonight. Okay, now our last item is actually going to be this cute little gift bag. These bags were offered at some point, and I have a few of them, so they are being offered in the kits today because I love it. It's so cute. Okay, so again, same paper stash, same stamp set. We're going to make a little tag that sticks on here, and I used a whistle so that this could be for a coach. And of course I used green. That is my daughter's high school color, one of her high school colors. So again, everything comes in your kit, so you will receive this just this way. You can see they fold up nice and flat, so I'll be able to ship that out pretty easily. Very excited about it. And again, assemble, assemble, assemble. Super simple. Look at the back of this paper. Is that not adorable? There's some cards with this that I would love to share at some point. So if I think about it and I have the time, I will do that. Because there are some cute things. And I love pretzels, so it's kind of more of a dorky thing, but you know. All right, I did put this on dimensionals so that it stands up just a little bit off of that background. Here's that diagonal thing that we discussed earlier. I'll be putting this on the diagonal there so that it is it pops out really nicely. Today is the last day to register for Saturday's Super Simple Card class. So if you are interested in joining us, we will be meeting at BN Bonn in the morning on Saturday from 10 until 12. But you do have to register in order to join. So you can visit my website for that, or if you're on my email newsletter, go check your email. It is in there with a link in there for you to just sign right up. Okay. All right, so we're going to use the whistle. And this is my Memento ink pad. Just works really well for me like this. And I'm going to give it just a moment to kind of dry so I don't smear it. And I will be using my blends for this. So I have that bubble bath color again, coloring the inside. And then I did something a little different for this. And I just kind of drew lines for the coloring. So it's not full. It's not a fill color, so to speak. And then I used the dark one just to color the inside of the whistle so you can see. That's the only place I did the fill. I really like how that turned out. It was a great little test to see if I liked it, and I love it. So I hope you do too. Just goes to show sometimes you got to play with techniques. Use an eraser cap and just do polka dots with your ink if you want. Lots of different art techniques work for putting fill in an open image. You don't always have to color everything fully. I know some people don't like to color at all, so there's always there's always options. I know that I have done like little scribbles in the background before just to have a little bit of color, or even like a watercolor splash instead of full coloring. So lots of different ways. All right, I do have a thanks that I just need to trim out here. So I did put my whistle on dimensionals, and I focused those dimensionals on the inside here just so it wouldn't squish down too poorly. All right, so here is our whistle. Again, it fits really nicely across that diagonal. I'm going to trim my thanks a little bit. A little bit further for my tag. So now we're going to make the tag, and the tag is going to be adhered to the bag. If you want, you can make it tied to the bag. It's really, again, that personal preference. There's so much of that going around, personal preference, right? All right, so there's my thanks. Now, again, I'm going to use those in colors because they were so much fun. So I added a few of these to the card itself, or the box front, bag front, whatever you want to call it. And then I also added some to the tag. So now here's a trick for you. When you have a tag and you're not going to tie it with a loop, but you want something a little fancier, I just slide this through one time so it's folded in half like this. Okay. And then I take this little tool, these little tweezer things, and I lay it down like that, and I grab a piece of fancy whatever, or some any kind of twine. Really, this is a bit shiny and shimmery to kind of play off of the trim on this beautiful lemon lolly ribbon. If you are around for the color change, you know the lemon lolly is my favorite. And then my fingers should work here. There we go. And now I have a knot. If that doesn't work, you can get a person to hold this for you, and you can tie a knot around it. Or you can try to use some adhesive and stick it down to your table. That has also worked for me in the past. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to trim this up a little bit. And I'm going to put just one dimensional on the back. I know, it's shocking. And then I'm just going to add this. I don't know why I did that. We're going to add it to this side because I put a dimensional here, or a little gem here. Let me see if I can move that to another location so I can put the tag there. There we go. Whoa. All right, I don't know why it just feels like it belongs on the right hand side. So I just kind of made sure that the dimensional was going to be on the background here. And that is our last project, the cutest little gift bag. All right, let me know what you think. I would love to see how you feel about super simple, fun projects that are beautiful and ready for anyone. And of course, because I had all this issue, it's going to be a mess. So close your eyes again. And let's see if I can end this fabulousness. Don't forget to check me out. Save, like, subscribe. Let me know how it looked on your end. Mine is quite the hot mess. So let's see. Settings, camera. Let's go back to the front camera. Okay, hopefully you're not too dizzy. I will get the kinks worked out. I don't know what happened tonight. So usually I am the most grateful for technology because I get to see my grandsons and my daughter and my son and my son-in-law on FaceTime. And when they are overseas and so far away, it's so helpful to be able to see them and still watch them grow up to some degree, and they still get to know who Nana and Gus are. So that is definitely what we look for, right? We look for those relationships, those connections. I hope that creating cards and beautiful items is a way that you can connect with somebody and not feel so lonely and make beautiful things. You guys have a great rest to your week, and I'll see you on Wednesday night next week. All right, see if I can end.